Hi and welcome. I'm Captain Max of this wonderful Sunreef 70 Ocean Vibes.
I'm Chef Elise. I'm Stewardess Susanna.
Great, thank you guys. So, what inspired you to join the yachting industry down here in the Virgin Islands?
So I've been yachting for over 7 years professionally and 150 charters. I used to work in finance in all the major investment banks around the UK, South Africa, New York, and my family's into sailing quite a lot. So when my brother was sailing around the world for the second time, I joined them quite a lot, and I decided there's probably more to your life than just sitting in an office staring at a screen. So after a lot of deliberation, I decided to quit banking and upgrade a load of my sailing licenses and take a deep dive into the sailing world. And after Irma happened, I ended up here. This seemed like a good place to come to help rebuild and start an add-on to my sailing career, and I've been here ever since.
I first worked down here in 2017, and I was working for a sail training program. So we were teaching kids 12 to 19 how to sail and scuba dive. And I just absolutely fell in love with the ocean. I grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia, which is away from the ocean and landlocked, but I felt the call of the sea, and that's why I first worked down here. And after a few years, realized that I could combine my love of the culinary world with sailing, and so I became a chef on board, and I have been doing it ever since.
I was born in the UK, but I moved down to the BVI when I was 6 weeks old. My parents had a charter company in the British Virgin Islands called Endless Summer 2. It was an Irwin 65, and it was one of the first charter boats in the business, in the industry. So I kind of grew up working on the boat, making my way up, and I've been working on boats ever since.
Awesome. So I know you guys have a lot of charters under your belt. Can you share a memorable story from one of them?
Memorable story for me generally revolve around children. I'm one of 7 children, so it's always delightful to have kids and spend quality time with them. And for me, when we get kids diving in the water and swimming and putting the little whale tails on and swimming around and sharing that time with them, I'll get to the end of the day or the charter and they would have drawn pictures. And they'll give me those pictures, and I've got a few stuck on my wall at home. And if you look in our guest book, you've got where the kids have drawn their comment as a picture, which is really heartwarming and heartfelt, and it's a very memorable time.
So one story that comes to mind was the unusual circumstance of me being able to go on Max's world famous Anegada beach pub crawl tour. So in Anegada, which we can go to sometimes based on weather, Max will rent an open air safari jeep, and he'll use the karaoke microphone and speaker. So he'll sit in the front and drive with the speaker in the back, and he'll be narrating the whole time, pointing out the flamingos, pointing out other landmarks, and telling really good jokes. So we were doing this safari, Max's world famous tour, and we got to a lunch spot, and I ran into one of my oldest family friends who I hadn't seen in a few years, and it was just such a cool moment, and just one of the many examples of unusual and unexpected connections you can have down here in the Virgin Islands.
For me, one of my most memorable stories was taking a family that we had on charter for New Year's on a great little snorkel spot. The conditions were absolutely perfect. We can't usually go there, and it was just magic that day. We were able to go, all of us were able to go and jump in the water, and I was able to point out we found an octopus, a peacock flounder, and just showing them little things that they couldn't quite see, that they weren't used to seeing, and just seeing the smiles on their faces was absolutely wonderful.
Definitely. So, what are some of your favorite activities you like to do with guests on board?
For me, it's generally water-based. We call them Maxtivities. So the idea is from the moment they get up in the morning to the time we go to bed at night. I'm generally trying to push them towards the fun activities you can do here on the Virgin Islands. So be that sailing with me, or Max's world famous Anegada beach crawl, or taking them to water sports. We have a vast array of water sports here, from the paddle boards to the knee boards to the biscuit donut, to the e-foil. So generally my life revolves around trying to get them on as many activities as we can throughout the day. for sure.
So one thing that I think is really fun to do during charter is most of my time is in the down galley, which we're really lucky to have on this boat. But I do think that it's really fun to involve guests in the cooking process. So I'll sometimes set up a station to do fresh pasta, so we'll roll fresh pasta, or I'll do a sushi rolling class for lunch. So teach the guests how to roll some sushi. I've also pressed tortillas with guests, baked cookies, and just like these fun ways to share my love of cooking.
I really enjoy telling the stories about the BVI. I can point out where I had my 8th birthday and we did a treasure hunt on the beach, or just, little stories here and there of just growing up in the BVI and how it was a little bit different, and just fun things like that.
Definitely. So, which hidden gem or lesser known spot do you enjoy taking guests to, and why?
So for me, I have a big affliction with trying to go to places where many boats don't go, and one of them is Guano Island. So Guano Island is owned by a privateer, and the only thing on it is a hotel, and there's no bars. The beach is completely empty for one tiny portion of the beach, which you generally don't go. But you get this wonderful white, pristine sand beach with nothing on it, and we get to go there early, and we'll spend the whole day and the whole night there. And it's really a magical place. When you wake up and look out the window in the morning, you just see no bars, no people on the beach, just this beautiful white beach. And getting the guests to go to that and experience that in the morning, it's a place we recommend you have to take sunglasses because it'll burn your eyes. Typically it's that white. It's a wonderful place.
So I really love Eustatia. I think that the color of the water there is just beyond compare. It's so blue, it's so vibrant, and when the weather is right, we're able to go there, and it's a beautiful, beautiful lunch spot, good for snorkeling, and again, the color of the water, it's a picture doesn't do it justice. It's so beautiful.
I really like Robbins Bay, located in North Sound in Virgin Gorda. It's out of the hustle and bustle that's right in front of the Bitter End Yacht Club or Prickly Pear, and we usually have the bay all to ourselves, and we can do water sports from there. We can call over Rum Runner, and little Drake can come by and visit the boat, who's an adorable little puppy, and we just really enjoy that spot.
Awesome. So what are your favorite features or highlights of Ocean Vibes that you really enjoy?
Being a captain, I'm always going to defer slightly to sailing. We are a sailboat after all, and so when we get the longer reach days, we get to put the sails up. The guests get the photos of us underway, and you get the more silent feeling of moving whilst underway. And then from the engineering perspective, sunreefs are typically built with redundancy built in, so instead of one generator, we have two. Instead of one water pump, we have two. Instead of one water heater, we have two. We have two of pretty much most things on board, which really lends itself to uninterrupted charters, which is a big feature of these boats.
My favorite part of the boat is absolutely the flybridge. It's so big on this boat, and we're unique in that we only have one helm station, so one part of the flybridge is totally open, and I love how it's used for different things throughout the day. You'll see guests working out up there, doing yoga, or sitting in a beanbag with a book, and it's also great for sunset cocktails, and it's just such a beautiful, expansive, versatile place.
I really like how much space there is on this boat. You've got a really expansive bow area up front where we can put the shade up if it's not too breezy, and you can sit there and read your book, and other people can be standing in the back deck in the cockpit up on the swim platform that goes up and down, and we can stage that as well. There's just so many places you can hang out and have some drinks, or you can be by yourself and read a book.
Definitely, it's beautiful. So what do you guys like to do in the off season when you're not chartering?
So the off season, you try to go home, see family of course, and friends. For me, we miss feeling what it's like to rain for 4 days straight, so I'll go home, sit in an English pub, and just sit in the rain for 4 days, which might sound odd, but when you live somewhere like this, it's actually lovely to go back to somewhere where it's not like this. Then I'll go to somewhere like Portugal to see other parts of my family and eat a different kind of food than we get here, but it's very family and friends orientated. We're here for 10 months, so it's delightful just to go back to where we're from and just spend time with the loved ones which we get to miss.
I love to visit my family in Virginia, and I like to soak up some time in the beautiful forests that we have there. So I try to hike and go camping at least once per off season. And then I also try to travel to somewhere really different than here. So this past off season, I traveled to Iceland, which was cold and very different.
Definitely.
I enjoy spending time at home with my 2 rescue dogs, Wesley and Rambo, and tending to my garden. I grow lots of fresh herbs, which I try to bring on charter, and just my passion fruit flowers and my cucumbers and things like that. But I also do like to get away as well and visit friends and family around the world. This past season, I took my honeymoon and went to Venice for a few days, and then just did a little road trip trying to, enjoy some things of the real world. Because, being grown up down here, I really enjoy going out and seeing good movies and going to concerts and things like that.
Sounds great. Thank you. All right, so Elise, we're going to talk about some food now. So describe one of your favorite dishes, why guests love it, and who or what influences your culinary style.
So I do have formal training, but I would say that my style is more exploratory, and it's really inspired by the food I ate growing up and also my travels. So I love experimenting with new techniques and new flavors, and I love incorporating a lot of family recipes throughout the week as well. I love to source as much local vegetables and fruit throughout the week. I work with several farms to be able to do that, and I also really love to get fresh seafood from local suppliers as well. And a dish that I've been loving recently is a panko encrusted lamb rack served with a local squash puree and a mint leek and local herb gremolata and scorched tomatoes. And something that I love about this dish is I was working on it throughout the last season and getting input from both Max and Sue throughout the season to help make it what it is.
And we loved it so much that we asked her to do it for the BVI Boat Show, and she won Best Entree, which was fantastic. We also won Best Second Place in the boat show for boats over 60 feet.
Awesome. And there was over 60 boats and 15 other chefs entered, so that's pretty impressive. Well, great. Thank you so much for sharing all that.
And yeah, from me, from Chef Elise and Sue, we really hope to see you on board to enjoy Chef Elise's cooking, Sue's hospitality, and my Max activities. We want to see you on the water soon.